Good morning, Justin Ford over at IAMS. Really appreciate you taking the time this morning to attend our webinar on a relatively important and more important topic than many of us may have thought of up until 2020. I know we're tired of hearing about it, but with all the changes, particularly in the area of legislature, um, taxes on retirement, there's a lot of risks in retirement that are starting to rear their heads, and awareness with individuals is heightened. So today we're going to be talking about one of these risks with human capacity and long-term care. So before we get started, we do have a diverse audience today for those that are attending as it relates to two separate categories. We have new individuals with us that may be taking a look at IAMS for the first time, who may have jumped on the webinar. We also have existing clients of ours or producers of ours who are on today as well. I'd like to thank you for your business and partnership and collaboration over the years for those of you that are with us. And thank you for the time to taking a look at us here for those that are new with us. So I want to go through a couple topics that will address both just as a highlight in the beginning before I introduce our speaker today, Brent, with OneAmerica. So if we could take a look at one of the first sections here we're going to look at is going to be relating to new producers with IAMS. So as a new producer with us, one of our roles is to maintain the relationship, assist you, grow any possible way we can, and also collaborate with you. This comes down to really the only way to truly show you what you're now a part of, or our secret sauce, if you will. Everything from service, the people you talk to on the phone, your typical evaluation of an IMO or a financial consultant partnership, is to get you to go through your first application with us. Typically, we want that to happen relatively as soon as possible so that you can make that decision and feel comfortable. And we'd like to pay you for it. So those cases that you're working on, when you do come on board with IAMS, we have a relatively lucrative additional compensation package for those writing their first case within the first 180 days with us. You can see on the screen different levels. We can get these out to you here. If you have interest in taking a look at this, talk to your primary contact at IAMS, your marketer, your relationship, who invited you here, or reach out to me, Justin Ford, on the life insurance team. We can get these over to you and make sure that we log you in the system as somebody who would like to shoot for these. But everything from a 15,000 piece mailing all the way to iPads, additional money for marketing. And if you're coming to us saying, I'd like to add a different marketing funnel or an additional marketing funnel to my practice as we're ramping back up, maybe after the pandemic, and you're looking for new appointment programs, that's another area that we can allocate these production dollars as well, or simply customize the extra monies to meet your needs. If you're coming over to us with an existing system that works, gets you the people you need to see, we can help with that as well. Bottom line, we'd like to help you get the business in with us faster. So make sure to talk to your relationship, your marketer, sales director here at IAMS, or myself about the incentives that are available for you as a new producer as the time does start ticking once you license with us, and go from there. So on top of that, as we talk about collaboration, you heard me mention that earlier, within our group and our secret sauce, many marketing organizations out there that I've been a part of, been a consultant in, or worked at directly, fall into different categories. You have your sales and relationship, sales-based marketing organizations that may be the best marketing or best relationship you've had over the phone with the person that contacts you, provides you value, and that's a good thing. You have other organizations that are selling you more of a recruiting agency and on two or three things, but there's really not a service end on the back. With IAMS, we look at ourselves as a consultative sales relationship, meaning it goes both ways. We spread the word of the wise, if you will, as these webinars will show you every Monday. We go through and do these. A lot of times the ideas that we have come, many of the times they come from producers like you. And we'd like to have a collaborative relationship with each one of you as it relates to sharing together, growing together, and being a part of what you have to offer, and also as a appropriate partner. So that being said, we also realize that we hang around like-minded people. So you may be around individuals as you're coming on board with us, or if you're an existing advisor with us, with agents that could use your help. I just got off a phone call a minute ago with a gentleman I work with very closely from Pennsylvania, and he came to me and shared with me a name of an individual, and we'll be reaching out together to introduce ourselves because he believes that what we're offering him could help his friend in a different state. So, and for that, we're going to pay him. We have a referred producer program. Essentially, we're going to pay in 3 ways: $50 once that individual licenses, $100 once they submit their first piece of business, and you'll see on the screen here thousands when your referral writes additional business with us, because what we're going to do, without affecting their compensation at all from our pocket or yours, from our pocket, we're going to pay you percentage or basis points on their production for the life of their relationship with IAMS. So you may bring us, like the individual did this morning, someone that we can help and say, compensation is not why I'm doing it, don't worry. But this can be a big deal to you. It can put, and to us, back to collaboration. It can put money back into your marketing pocket, into your practice that may be needed just to get you over an additional revenue hump or premium level you're trying to hit. And we benefit from that too. So if we can put more in your pocket, we know it gets appropriately allocated to where we all benefit. So let us know. Ask if you're not aware of this program, or if you'd like to be a part of it or find out the process. Again, reach out to your primary contact at IAMS or myself, Justin Ford, on the life team. We talked earlier about submitting your first case. When the rubber meets the road, it really does come down to service. If you can't get a case placed, if you, excuse me, if like many of us, you don't have a staff of 6 to 8 people that will process business, work with the individual carriers, their unique differences, all the stuff that I'm venturing to make an assumption none of us would value or want to do, because that's not where we necessarily make the highest amount of our revenue, as it's based on our skills. So in other words, we're good at talking to people, building relationships, and in a sales role, helping that client out and going forward. We oftentimes don't value or would rather not spend that time calling insurance companies sitting on hold. Well, we will do that for you. We have different tiers of service as far as our case follow-up based on the size of the case. We have individuals, again, focusing on our sales support team on each individual carrier, so that they build a relationship with that's unique with the carrier when we need those, calling in those favors, if you will, to help with your business. And also on the case design right up front. Myself, the life insurance team here at IAMS, especially this year, as it relates to these legislative changes, tax changes, the overall scope of risks and roadblocks, as well as positives that retirees face in their retirement plan, you need a case designer or a marketer that not only has a great relationship with you, in my opinion, but you also need somebody that can listen and ask questions appropriately and find out more about what you're trying to accomplish, and then come to bat with ideas for you. Essentially, it's a paraplanner on steroids, if you will. And that's what our life insurance team has here at IAMS. Confident each one of us have different levels of expertise, different, areas of expertise that we focus on from a advanced standpoint, advanced topics. We also have access to a team that we can ask for questions and be a consultant on cases with us, with you and I, as we're working on a case, as an example, of estate planning attorneys, CPAs, any type of question that veers off the normal route, but then normal direction as well. So reach out today if you have not worked a case with us, or if you have something that you'd like to discuss with us. The IAMS life insurance team, myself, Justin Ford, Tony Butler, Jess Riley, as well as anybody on the annuity team, as we are going to be talking about asset-based annuity today as well. Processing the business couldn't be easier nowadays. I remember 2010 when e-applications on annuities were starting to come out and people were hesitant. It was in the middle of all the suitability and challenges or increases or changes rather with the NAIC. Long story short, Firelight, we have access. We use Firelight for our annuities and several of our life insurance carriers, but mostly for annuities. This is a program that I've seen great success with myself. And in my past experience, I've seen several applications now, I think it's going on 3, that were paid within 24 hours just because of using this system. Reduces errors and NIGOs, not in good order applications, and again, headaches and time spent by you or your staff going forward. Also, get the business in faster. Currently, carriers on board, we can get you a list. If you're not set up on Firelight, please reach out to us. Anybody on the sales support team or your primary contact here can do the necessary clicks and get you the information to get you activated to use Firelight. Give us a call if you have any questions or would like assistance in that area. So in addition to helping with processing the business, we if we're going to be a collaborative partner, we'd like to find a way to shine our diamonds, if you will. We prefer to be the velvet behind the diamond, you being the diamond. And we have for that, we've created an entire in-house creative marketing team. Individuals work for us on my payroll, and all of them focus on the insurance and financial services arena daily. They're not an advertising team that you would find locally that also does the local furniture store or Ford dealership, as an example. So their expertise level is the same as those individuals, but it is targeted, laser focused on what we all do. They are who do our marketing. They're all the material you see from us via email, everything from areas that we can help you with, everything from a professionally written note, postcards, business card, all the way up through navigating social media and enhancing your LinkedIn presence to foster greater relationships in this online world, tie into a marketing campaign, digital email, drip systems, etc. You name it, we can do it. Give us a call today if you have any questions or a project that you're working on that may be mutually beneficial. Talk to your primary contact here at IAMS, and we'll scope out the opportunity of what we have and what we can do to assist you in this area. On our website, twofold. One, our website does give information as it relates to IAMS, who we are, et cetera, but we also actually decided, hey, let's put some value on this and offer calculators and reasons why we would want to attend or visit the website. You can access all of our e-applications right from our web. In addition to that, you can quickly do term insurance, life insurance quotes, guaranteed universal life quotes with all the carriers that we offer, showing either a spreadsheet approach if you're shopping for term, and also showing on one page multiple health ratings, multiple premium amounts, et cetera, quick turnaround time, et cetera. On our website, you have access to it. You also have access to a retirement income rider research tool that will show you who's first, second, and third, all the way down to number 45 of retirement income payouts as it relates to riders on annuities. Talk to your annuity marketer. They can walk you through where to get access to an annuity rate watch. From there, all the forms that you need right from the website, or you can get them from us. That's applications all the way to marketing brochures from each carrier. Industry links, our marketing corner, calendar, prospecting ideas, you name it. Give us a call if you'd like a tour on the website. If you've been with us for a while, or if you're new and you'd just like to see what's out there and how it can benefit you, by all means, give us a call and we can help you out. When it comes to helping out, a lot of times what we do, or what you do rather, very well, in my opinion, and from my seat, I don't think anybody would argue this. A lot of times, yes, you understand the risks of retirement and how to help a client with insurance products, et cetera, estate planning, maybe changes in their life. But a lot of times, from my view, if you look big picture, I see you helping an individual get over something that they've wanted to get over, or they know they need to get over, but they've been procrastinating on. So we know we need to plan for retirement. We know we need to look at our budget, but I'm just kind of scared to open up the checkbook and actually do the math because one, I don't know where to start, or two, I just don't want to see it because I don't think it's going to be favorable. Or they misunderstand, or we've got a misunderstanding, and you're turning that around and relaying information you may receive from my sales team on a design or your own paraplanner, and relaying it back to how it can solve their problem. But you've got to start with that first. To help you with that, we've got several programs that are really good at getting that across, helping a client understand. As an example, their current plan as it goes today. If they do nothing different, continue to plan the save within their 401k or what have you, when they take income based on what they want in their retirement plan, when they want to retire, let's look at what would happen today if you were to retire. If there's an issue, big red line shoots across the program on this, and we'll tell them what year they're going to have a challenge. And when that's provided back to the client can then turn around and say, okay, well, what can we do about this? Which right there now we have a collaboration. They're working with you, and you can help assist. So Retirement Analyzer is a program that we do have access to here. Ask your marketer or relationship at IAMS. We can get talking about that. That's an overall retirement planning program. When it relates to these tax changes, you cannot turn a corner nowadays without hearing about taxes. I've been getting questions from family members in their 30s, working cases with people in their 20s as it relates to cash funding equity in their fixed index universal life, because we know we have a tax bomb coming at us in the future. If we can, as we continue to fund qualified plans, that the income will come out and be chopped in half with taxes. So we have a program that will help a client better understand right off the bat the difference between putting money into their qualified plan and taking it out in retirement, paying the taxes, but getting the deferral on the front end with their money and not paying taxes, versus overfunding a fixed index universal life program, and the premium that would go up front if you were to not fund and divert that over, versus the income that would come out tax-free. So it immediately gets in a conversation of, here's the benefit, instead of arguing or having that conversation or overcoming the objection as an example of, I have life insurance, I don't need any more. When we were trying to talk about cash accumulation, it starts off with taxes. So that's called Stonewood. Talk to your life insurance representative today or give me a call. When it comes to complete wealth management with the client, we do have a corporate RIA, IAMS Wealth Management. Work with these individuals every day. We have a great team over there that can assist, whether you're looking at getting your 65 and need some assistance with where do I start, or you've already got your U10 filed and you're wondering what are the next steps, or if you're already, as an example, with a registered investment advisor, or you are one, and you'd like to actually change the way that the time you're spending on compliance and come underneath a insurance understanding, indexed annuity friendly RIA as a investment advisor rep, we can help. Give us a call today. Let us know where you're at, and we'll get you a consult with our wealth management team. And I can tell you, you will be impressed. I am. So how do we end this year? I think all of us would like to say not inside watching TV or news. That's kind of what I did in 2020. So as the masks come off, we are in the middle of our qualification period for our Top Producers Summit. Best locations, some of the locations we've gone to in the past are phenomenal. This one, I think we overdid ourselves here. Rome, Sorrento and Capri, Messina. We are going on a cruise. So our qualification period is a little different and unique compared to other groups I've run into. We don't do a 12-month qualification. We're doing an 18-month qualification. This started in December of last year and is going to be running through June 30th of 2022. Give us a call today to if you're shooting for this, or if you have any questions or like to know your ranking or how this works, talk to your primary relationship at IAMS. But we'd love to see you there. We'd love to have a conversation with many of us here, and I know those of you on the line personally that are working towards this trip would love to see you there as well. Training as we go forward. Again, the masks are coming off. Just a little prequel. We're bringing back our academies for life and annuities. Coming up here, we've already got our first date scheduled. We're going to have more of these as we go throughout the year. Again, talk to your primary relationship if you have any questions, and we can assist there. But we'd love to see you out. We're going to be discussing different market strategies, advanced sales concepts around tax risk, as well as Roth conversions and strategies to get you in front of more people in a room with other like-minded producers from across the country. So give us a call if you have a question about the upcoming dates. Talk to your primary relationship at IAMS, whether it's annuities or life. Social media, we're on there. Check us out. YouTube as well. Every one of these webinars is recorded and placed on our YouTube site, which I'll get over to you. And with that being said, Thank you for attending. I am going to, without further ado, transfer this over to uh, Brent from OneAmerica here. Give me 1 second, and we'll get started.
All right. Well, perfect.
Okay, can you hear? Perfect. There you go. I'll let you go from there. Thank you for attending with us here, Brent. I'll let you take the floor.
Yeah, thank you, Justin. I appreciate that, and everybody at IAMS, certainly for having me on today. And thank you, everybody, for joining. And I tell you what, I've done a number of these with IAMS now, and I'm always impressed by the level of support and systems that they have for you as an insurance professional or an advisor. And just thankful that you're all here. So, you know, one of the things that Justin and I talked about a couple weeks ago before planning this presentation was, you know, mitigation of risks. And one of the largest risks to a retirement portfolio is a extended care event or a long-term care event. And so what we have at OneAmerica is an asset-based long-term care protection. And so I'm going to go through a little bit about what we have here, but really what spurred some of the conversation was the changes that are going on out there. Some of you may have heard that Washington State has implemented actually a tax on all of their constituents. And essentially, it's the first of its kind in the nation. It's the Long-Term Care Trust Act there in Washington State. Now, even if you're not from Washington State, I want you to kind of just pay attention because other states are looking at this. And basically what they're going to do is they're going to tax all full-time employees 18 years and over. And essentially what the tax is to put it into this trust act to fund any long-term care. But basically every $100 of income that they have, they're going to be taxed 58 cents on that. So for their years and years and years of employment, full-time status, they can pay a large amount of taxes just by being covered by the Washington Care Long-Term Care Trust Act. And the only one thing, the saving grace here, and it's created a lot of flurry out there, is that there is an opt-out by having a true long-term care plan in place. And they have come out with further legislation around that. It must have a 7702B portion to it, which we here at OneAmerica do have in our plans as well. A lot of the traditional carriers are 7702B by IRS standards as well. So they can opt out, but they had to have a plan in place by November 1st. Now, this has caused a lot of scurry and a flurry of apps in a lot of the traditional carriers. Now, because of that, we're seeing that some are making some pretty significant changes. One major carrier, probably a leader in the traditional space, pulled out of Washington altogether. They went from a fairly smaller average term of apps per day to up to 1,000 apps per day from Washington constituents. And that just overloaded them, and they couldn't handle all of that business all at once. So they actually exited the market in Washington. So you can opt out by having a plan in place, but what does this plan, this Trust Act, actually get those constituents? Well, it's really only $100 per day for a year. So a total of $36,000. Now, that may sound significant, but if you look at maybe some of the average cost, we're talking $25,000 to $300,000 per individual. So is this necessarily the right thing to do? That remains to be seen. But I know that there are a number of other states that are looking at this. They're watching Washington closely to see how this plan rolls out. One of the couple other things that are a little different here with Washington that they haven't put in yet is they haven't done a checks and balances. If somebody gets a plan and then drops it, say a year or two later, then they don't have a way to go back and look at that. And so that scares the carriers in and of themselves as well. So, I mean, if you're looking to do anything in Washington State, please know that we've got great planning options, but we're not looking for a bunch of, you know, dropped policies from the get-go. And so that is one thing that Washington State is going to have to address. But just in case you want to know maybe the cost of care in the state that you happen to reside and work, we've got a great cost of care tool at oneamerica.com/LTC cost of care. So I wanted to give you that information very quickly as well. So that's what spurred a lot of this. But again, great way to cover these risks, if you will. Whoops, sorry about that. And I just really wanted to talk about the 5 key advantages of working with OneAmerica and our care solutions portfolio. So very brief overview here: catastrophic or lifetime protection, joint coverage, qualified money options, both life and annuity based, long-term care. And then we've got 30 plus years of experience in this marketplace. So it's not like we're new to this area. We've been doing it for a long time. And then I'll take a couple quick case study looks as well. Well, there we go. All right. Catastrophic protection. So why is that so important? Well, I think that really boils down to, you know, insurance 101. Why do you buy insurance? Do you buy car owners insurance for windshield replacement? No, it's really for that total car crash. If you look to home owners insurance, do you buy it for that roof replacement? Probably not. Really, it's not. It's for that total loss, maybe from a fire. When you're protecting your health, when it comes to a long-term care event, are you protecting for just that 6 months to maybe 6-year average? Or are you really protecting for those severe cognitive impairments, which could last up to 20 years or more? Seeing in cases of Alzheimer's and dementia type scenarios, Parkinson's disease, all of these organic brain areas that really can make these claims last longer and longer. So here's why I feel lifetime really matters. And I'm going to give you just this dot plot matrix on here. Each one of those blue dots on this white page here represents a long-term care claim. And so many advisors and insurance professionals kind of fall into the average trap. And it may be on guidance from their clients. So I understand that, but don't fall prey to that. And here's why I say that. So if each one of these is a LTC claim, and if I brought in the average, bringing in a line here that actually plans for the average, you can see there this, I guess we'll call it an orangish red line that came in here. That's the average of all of those claims. Now 9 of those dots actually fall on the average line. Below the line, if they would have planned for the average, sure, well and good, still would have hit that. Those that are on the line, they planned perfectly, and those were covered as well. But look at all those dots above the line. What happens when a claim goes above that average planning? They're right back into the portfolio that they were trying to protect. And that is not true catastrophic or planning 101, if you will. Why I think lifetime matters is just this reason. We get rid of that line altogether. And here at OneAmerica, we have unlimited benefits that can make sure that each and every one of those claims has a lifetime income stream specifically for that long-term care claim. Speaking of claims, let's look at some of the largest claims that are out there. And you can see here, $2.3, $2 million. A male here that lasted 19 years and 3 months. Some of these could still be going on. This was actually through December of 2018 from the Association for Long-Term Care Insurance. So these are extremely large numbers, but what I wanted to point out is the fact that if you're only planning for the average, Yes, you may have mitigated some of those claims, but now they're right back into the portfolio, and look how quickly they could deplete that again. Nobody wants that call from the client to say, hey, we planned for this. Why am I going right back into my portfolio? You'll never have to apologize to a client's family for giving them unlimited protection. Speaking of that, we have our Asset Care, which is our life-based portfolio of care solutions. We have a joint second to die structure. And if you couple the joint second to die structure, so joint coverage with unlimited benefits, you can see where we're going to outshine all of our competition. And why do I say that? Well, a couple reasons. One, we take the same amount of premium that they were going to pay in 2 individual policies. We couple that together and we get a larger amount of benefits that are available. Not only that, probably within the last 5-6 years, long-term care has been more gender specific. So by having a joint plan, you get rid of any extra arguments or putting some bad light on a joint couple out there, because females typically are going to cost more, so their premiums are higher. So they're either going to pay more for the same amount of coverage as their male counterpart, or they're going to get less benefits than their male counterpart. And that spouses don't really like to go through that. They want to have the same amount of benefits. So what do we do here? We couple the same amount of premium dollars that they were going to put into individual policies, and we're going to give them a larger benefit pool and the same amount of premium. So really nice look here of just some of what our competitors do. But you can see as you go down the list below OneAmerica that each one of the male and female is going to be a different premium. What you'll really notice over here on the last column is that all of these plan for the average. They only go up to 6 years. What we do is by combining them in a joint second to die scenario, we give them more benefits in terms of long-term care, and also for a lifetime of protection. That's income needed specifically for long-term care expenditures, which they can never outlive. So really puts the peace of mind in your client's mind when you're talking to them and planning with OneAmerica. I mentioned that we have both life and annuity-based long-term care. Well, why do I mention that? We'll look at some of these annuity statistics. Now, they're getting fairly old here, so these numbers certainly have grown, but there is a huge amount of annuities that are out there. And many times what we find is that people just want to self-insure. So maybe they've got annuities kind of sitting on the sideline and want to use those, for any long-term care expenditures that happen to come up. But I'm going to show you a better way later in this presentation. But if you look at the average age or purchase age of non-qualified annuities, you can see age 51, and that is right in the sweet spot of when we're starting to plan for long-term care issues. Speaking of that, we also have our annuity-based scenario because of decline rates increasing. Again, this is from 2017 from the American Association for Long-Term Care Insurance, and actually these numbers have increased since then. You get to older ages, especially around traditional plans, and you are finding the decline rates at 50% or even higher, especially when you get to that 65, 69, 70 and above range. And nobody likes to fill out an application with their clients and then have them get declined. What we have at OneAmerica is our annuity-based solutions for any of those that maybe failed to plan or are waiting till later in life. We usually move towards there. We're going to get more leverage for planning in our annuity suite, if you will, and the decline rates are much lower. Why? Because with our annuity suite, we've got essentially 5 knockout questions. We do a script check and an MIV check, and then it's accept or reject. So we're seeing a lot higher placement rates to the tune of about 94% on our Annuity Care side. So again, for those that have failed to plan, maybe have a little more health history, if you will, waited till later in life, and then I'll give you another reason where we really use our annuity suite, which is the Pension Protection Act. And I'll get into that here in just a moment as well. But 3 main reasons why we use our annuity suite. So the concept of self-funding, I like to look at this because this is really the main objection that you probably run into if you have mentioned long-term care to your clientele. They just figure, I don't really need it, I'm gonna self-fund. Especially us males, we have this male bravado that we're gonna, peel back or peel open our shirt and there's gonna be that S for Superman underneath. Well, I wanted to look at the concept of self-funding here with a very balanced portfolio. This is a portfolio spread between conservative, aggressive, and moderate funds, so well balanced. And if they're going to self-fund, typically what will happen? They'll go to their portfolio to take out any monies needed for any claim dollars or expenditures that they must have for that income. So let's look at, say, a couple here, and one of those spouses needs or has a long-term care event. And in that year, they needed $100,000. So they peeled that out of some of their conservative funds, maybe balanced it between some of their moderate funds as well. But that's only for 1 year, and that's only one individual. So that really didn't eat into their whole portfolio. But again, one individual in 1 year. What happens when they start needing multiple years of care, or both individuals are needing care? You can quickly dissolve that whole retirement portfolio, those hard-earned dollars that they've been waiting for that retirement for so long or working so hard to reach. So there is a better way, and that's with our asset-based solutions. So the concept of life-based long-term care, which we call our asset care portfolio. Let's say that, again, somebody had a claim here, but instead of waiting, we are going to do some pre-planning for them. Now, we might take out a little bit more out of that portfolio than that $100,000 that they had in that first year. But again, look at that in the terms of 2, 3, 4 years of claim dollars. So this is even a much smaller amount. So we're going to peel out $150,000 and really just reposition it. It's still their asset. It's still in their portfolio. We're just using that to protect the rest of the portfolio. So we reposition $150,000. We create a death benefit, and the death benefit would change a little bit. It doesn't mean that automatically $150,000 is going to be $185,000, but we're going to leverage that in terms of a death benefit. That would be on in terms of a couple, a joint case, so both individuals would have access to that death benefit, which they will use for long-term care benefits. On top of that, we can add what we call a continuation of benefits rider, which can extend for up to unlimited benefit amounts, an amount that they could never outlive. So they're going to use their money first in terms of that death benefit. That's when the COB portion would kick in, the continuation of benefits portion, and we can either double it or give that unlimited lifetime, which I will always recommend, especially in the terms of a joint case. So I like to simplify our plans as much as possible. I talked about a base policy, and on our asset care, it's a whole life base policy. That's where we're repositioning those assets to create that whole life base plan. Then we can add the continuation of benefits rider. And again, we can either double the original base policy benefits or add that unlimited lifetime protection. I mentioned that we have 30+ years of experience. As a matter of fact, we sold our first asset care case in the year I graduated from high school in 1988. So we've been at this a long time, which means we've got many, many years of creating plans, filing, administration of those plans, but most importantly, paying claims on those plans. So 30+ years of experience there. We're not just new to this market and don't understand the pricing and the risks involved. So I want to do a quick case study here on a single pay, that repositioning like I talked about. So here's Bill and Mary, both 61 and 60, if you will. They recently retired. They've got solid assets to cover any income needs. They thought self-funding was their way to go until Mary's mom was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. They started to see the outlay really from any of the expenditures because of this disease was causing. So they now decided to, gosh, we better start looking at this long-term care planning ourselves. They own a CD worth $200,000 that they consider their kind of emergency fund, if you will, kind of that money sitting on the sideline. And that's what they intended to use if they ever had long-term care expenditures themselves. However, Bill just got diagnosed with diabetes. Now he's controlling it with diet and exercise, but this was really a wake-up call for both of them. So here's what we decided to do. We decided to reposition a portion of that CD. We didn't take the whole CD. We just took the 150,000 here. We chose a 3% acceleration, which I'm going to talk about on the next slide, what that means. But we took that $150,000 and created this whole life plan for them. So that's split between the base policy and the rider. That's the timeline there, if you see that. So the base policy is the life insurance policy. The continuation of benefits is the rider portion. And what that created for them, you can see down here, almost $5,600 per person per month in terms of long-term care expenditures. We added that COB rider for unlimited. So once they exhausted their death benefit, whether one or both exhausted that death benefit, then the COB rider kicks in, and each one of them would still continue to have that nearly $5,600 per person per month for the rest of their lives that they could never outlive. But those expenditures are specifically for long-term care expenses. So acceleration, I talked about this really quickly. So this is how quickly we'll exhaust the death benefit or how big we want the long-term care benefits to be. So we've got 2%, 3%, and 4% accelerations. I don't like to speak about this a whole lot because I think it confuses people, but I needed to talk about it because compliance says we have to. So a 2% acceleration of the death benefit would extend that death benefit to pay out over 50 months. Now, it's a longer period of time that you can access that death benefit, but it means a smaller LTC benefit. Typically, what we'll do when we're running quotes is recommend a shorter period of time. So we'll go to a 3% option for couples or 4% if it's a single only. 4% is only available for singles. But we'll go to that shorter amount of time because that maximizes the LTC benefits that are available to them. And that also means that's the quicker they would get into the COB portion. So when we add the COB, if they do a 2% acceleration, we could do 50 months plus 50 months, so it gives them 100 months of coverage, or add that lifetime. We could do the 3%, which gives them essentially a full 66 months of coverage, or lifetime. I will always strongly recommend the lifetime option on the singles, 25 plus 25, so 50 months of coverage, or that lifetime option. Now, on this single life case here, I wanted to show you just a single life, not a joint case. So here, if it was a single individual, we used a 4% acceleration, as you'll see down here, but we didn't have to use the full 150,000. We only used 124,000 on this individual. Gave him $150,000 death benefit. 4% acceleration gave her $6,000 per month to use for long-term care expenditures. We also added through that premium the unlimited benefit rider, So once she blew through this 150,000, if she did, then that unlimited rider would kick in and she would continue to have this. Now, I will say on both the individual or joint, let's say that neither one of them ever touches the death benefit. That gets passed on to their heirs. That's why consumers like these asset-based plans so greatly, is because they're always going to get something for their premium dollars that they use here. Whether that's a reposition, whether that's creating a new premium, whatever the case may be, it's not that use it or lose it objection that many people don't like when talking traditional long-term care insurance. So they'll always get something for these plans. On top of that, there are guarantees that are built in. This is a whole life chassis, so it's a guaranteed premium, never to increase. There is guaranteed cash value that is available to them, guaranteed death benefits, and guaranteed long-term care benefits as well. Now, if I wanted to talk on a reoccurring basis, so we wanted to say set ongoing premiums. Maybe somebody doesn't have the ability to do a repositioning or some other outside funds to do a single pay scenario. So we can do the same thing with ongoing premiums as well. However, repositioning here may look a little bit different. We're going to take it out over time. So creating an annual premium, if you will. Still creates that death benefit, which they would draw the long-term care benefits from, and still have the option to add that unlimited lifetime COV rider. So in a recurring premium situation, many times it's the younger individuals that we see this on. So here's a 52-year-old male and a 51-year-old female. And basically what we did is created a $4,100 monthly long-term care benefit for them. And we also added 3% inflation to the COB on here. So what did that quote come out to be? It came out to be an annual premium of just over $6,000. I always like to say when we're trying to create that annual premium, trying to keep it below or right around a $500 monthly premium is something that is typically palatable to those types of consumers. So that $6,000 or just over $6,000 annual premium gave them a death benefit of $137,000 that they both could access. And again, that was through the 3% acceleration of benefits. So again, that gave them the $4,100 per person per month to use for that 33 months. If they would blow through that, that's when the COB would kick in. And we added that 3% inflation. We added it for 20 years. So it's going to grow for 20 years. We also have a lifetime option there as well. But to save a little premium, we said it's only going to grow for 20 years. But what did that grow to? If they get into that COB premium, so blow through their death benefit and get into that COB premium, after that 20-year period, it would have grown to just over $7,400 per person per month for their life that they could never outlive. So great way to just show you how we can build or custom design a plan on an ongoing premium basis as well. I mentioned qualified money early on, and this is another scenario where we're getting a lot of interest and we're seeing a lot of business because many advisors and many insurance professionals did not know that you could use qualified money, or there were no qualified options out there to plan for long-term care planning. So this is a very busy slide. I'm going to apologize up front, but in order to keep this as short as possible, I put everything on one slide. So we're back to Bill and Mary here in this example. You remember before they wanted to use that $200,000 CD that they had, but this advisor actually asked some further questions and found out that Bill had an old IRA just kind of sitting out there on the sideline, not really under his management, but once he discovered that, he said, you know, we could use that for your funding here as well. And the reason people like to use these qualified funds is it's a direct trustee to trustee transfer, and we automatically give it a 20% bonus. So if you'll look here, again, it was an old IRA of 250,000 that we used. Now it can be any qualified source, 401k, 403b, any existing IRA, any qualified fund source out there. We take that direct rollover or trustee to trustee transfer. We automatically give it a 20% bonus here. So add another 50,000. So now what we've got is a total pool of 300,000 to draw from. This 50,000 is basically an income rider, if you will. What we do, because these are qualified funds, we split these out into 10 equal payments to fund the life insurance portion of the plan. I like this hourglass because I think that really gives a way, just as the sands through the hourglass fall from the top to the bottom, we're doing this in 10-year chunks from the top to the bottom. So we split that $300,000 into 10 equal distributions to fund the life insurance benefit and the COB rider. Now, because these are qualified funds, the IRS is going to get their money somehow, so that those distributions over those 10 years from this 30,000 will create, it is a taxable event, and it will create an LTC 1099. So if you're doing any tax planning with your clients, you have to remember that as well. But basically that 30,000 then is split between both the base policy and the COB rider. And what did that create for them? Nearly $9,000 per person per month each that they could never outlive. So this was a great way, once that advisor asked a few extra questions and discovered this great old IRA that Bill had out there, and used that instead of that CD that they had. So wonderful way to do this. People like bonuses. A couple other things I like to mention here. These distributions, if they reach the ripe old age of 72, the age of majority, these equal distributions here, that distribution over those 10 years can count towards their RMDs. So that is one thing to kind of keep in your quiver, if you will. And then inherited IRAs. There are a large amount of IRAs that are being passed from one generation to the next. This particular scenario or solution works very well for those inherited IRAs because it fits with the Secure Act. The new Secure Act says any inherited IRA must be a drain in 10 rule. So we have this perfect solution for any inherited IRAs. And oh, by the way, if they're under 59.5, because it's an inherited IRA, according to the Secure Act, that 10% penalty does not apply. So a couple good things to really remember with this solution. As I said, we're getting a lot of interest around this and seeing quite a bit of business coming in under our annuity funded whole life solution. So I also mentioned that we had an annuity platform as well, and I like to keep that as simple as possible as well. A base policy, which is an annuity, instead of our whole life chassis, which is asset care. Annuity care is an annuity-based policy, and then it works the same way. We can add a COB rider, and it can go for up to a lifetime benefit. So pretty simple there. Keep it as simple as possible. Now, one of the main reasons we use our Annuity Care is because they are Pension Protection Act eligible, meaning if we 1035 any non-qualified existing annuity out there into one of our PPA eligible annuities, and let's say that there was a lot of embedded gain into any of those non-qualified annuities that they had, once they 1035 that into our qualified Annuity Care solution, all of that gain is wiped out if used for long-term care. So it's a great way to reposition any non-qualified annuities with your clients out there to get rid of that taxable gain to make it income tax-free if used for long-term care expenditures. So a great way to use our annuities Care suite is to really look for your clients with those non-qualified annuities out there with a lot of embedded gain. And then again, we can also add our continuation of benefits rider available here as well. Now, I'm going to give you a quick case study here with Marie. She's age 72. I'm going to talk about just one of our solutions here, which is our Annuity Care 2 option. And this is the only one that has our COB built into the plan. But here was Marie's situation. She's retired, again, solid assets and a pension to cover her income needs. She is concerned about LTC expenditures because she doesn't want to jeopardize the inheritance or that legacy that she wants to pass on to her kids. I'm going to skip over that one because hopefully we're just about out of this whole COVID scenario. She owns a non-qualified annuity worth $200,000. It's got $100,000 of basis, $100,000 of gain. It's at a guaranteed interest rate of 2.5%. So pretty good in today's terms. Without LTC coverage, she reluctantly plans to self-fund those expenses using this taxable annuity. So let's look at what would happen. The self-funding scenario, $200,000 annuity. If she took it out when she needed it, obviously that's going to be a taxable event. That gain is going to come out first. And even at a very nominal tax rate here, that she loses around $25,000 of her hard-earned money in this non-qualified annuity. Well, there's a better way to do it. Why not 1035 that into one of our PPA eligible annuities? And in this particular scenario, we use the straight leverage play with our Annuity Care 2, and we 1035 that into our Annuity Care 2 that pays internal charges, pay for the COB rider as well. So this straight leverage play is 2.5 times. So that $200,000 became $500,000 of tax-free income for any long-term care expenditures. So this was a great way to really satisfy exactly what Marie was looking for and to protect that legacy that she wanted to pass on. One last thing that I wanted to do, I know we're getting up against time here, is give you a great conversation starter. And you know, Justin mentioned early on the ability to build websites for you there at IAMS, and I've actually worked with a number of IAMS producers that actually created this solution as well to add to the website that IAMS had created for them. But this is a wonderful little plant the seed, kind of get the word out, some good education around long-term care risks. And it's experiencecaresolutions.com. So you see the website up there. Here's what it comes. It's a very interactive website that's available that just gives your clients some very good information around the risks of not planning for long-term care. You go through each one of these particular scenarios. It's actually a kind of a scroll down and click. It's very interactive for your clients. But you come to the last step here, which is kind of the call to action, and it says, ready to take the next step? Well, contact the financial professional that sent you this information or this website. But we can take that a step further and we can customize this for you. And that's what the IAMS producers that I've worked with in the past have done. Basically, what it comes to at the last step would be a customized version, which has all of your information, as well as your picture or your logo, whatever you would prefer to have up there, that would display your information versus just, hey, contact the individual professional who sent you this. So it really helps them remind them, hey, who sent me this? I need to talk to them about this, these risks. So I wanted to mention this great customizable website that is perfect to plant the seed with your consumers out there, with your customers, your clients. So what sets us apart really quickly, both life and annuity-based solutions. We've got both joint and single life a variety of funding options, which I didn't get into today. I didn't have the time for it, but we've got so many solutions. It's kind of a blessing and a curse here at OneAmerica. We've got so many options to create plans for your clients that we can tailor make any type of scenario to fit your client's needs and budget. But the double-edged sword of that is, obviously, there's a lot of options, and so people sometimes get overwhelmed. So what I would say is lean heavily on your IAMS marketing relationship there. Certainly utilize them. They know our solutions inside and out. I work with Justin quite regularly, as a matter of fact, and some of the other ones as well. And so they have knowledge there. They've also got the direct line to somebody at the home office. So we can really tailor design any plan for your customer's needs. Optional lifetime benefits, and I would strongly suggest that on every client, because again, that gives them the total peace of mind. Claims concierge, which is wonderful. This is really, when the rubber meets the road, it's a single point contact all through that claims process. So they're never having to re-explain exactly what's going on. And then we've got some very reasonable underwriting guidelines as well. So with that, Justin, I don't know if we've got time to do questions, but I'll leave that up to you.
Yeah, I think we'll leave this one here, and the questions will be on follow-up. Brent, that was great. Always appreciate the opportunity. So we'll be reaching out to those of you who have attended or requested information. By all means, reach out to us if you have an interest in a couple things. One would be the cost of care site. Thanks for sharing that, Brent.
Yeah.
It's one of those that you have and then you forget you have it, kind of like a pool table. You play pool for a while and then all of a sudden people are like, why don't you play pool? Well, I have the table. That's a website I've got to get back in, right? And so the other one is we make sure when you call in or we call you to ask about our long-term care insurance awareness sales kit. It's a link of documented material, customized material, everything from information to help promote the concept of this long-term care need and risk on social media, all the way through very specific educational material as it relates to, as an example, IAMS has put together a guide that will actually show an education guide that will help a client understand the difference between, as an example, critical and chronic illness accelerated death benefits on life insurance to a true 7702 compliant long-term care policy, which, going back to what Brent had mentioned earlier, would be a good thing. So give me a call if you have any questions. Talk with your life insurance marketer or primary contact. Brent, what can I say? Appreciate it. Love working with you. I know you don't feel the same. I'm just kidding. Brent and I go back and we share a lot of information back and forth. And I think back to the collaboration point earlier, we appreciate all the mind share on the audience. I wanted to say thank you again, Brent, for being here for us and for all that you do with us.
Thank you very much, Justin, and thank you everybody for coming on today. If I could mention one really quick thing, because I forgot to mention, we started with Washington, and the changes are going on there, but there's a lot of states that are looking at this whole scenario: California, Illinois, Minnesota, Oregon, and I'm sure others will follow if they find that Washington does this right. Now, I think that there's some things that Washington's got to fix before any other state would roll this out, or maybe they would learn from that. But the biggest key takeaway is, who wants to get taxed forever, essentially, 18 plus? Why not put a long-term care plan in place? So
I completely agree. And the stress it's putting on those systems, like we talked about the other day, just indicative of the real need for this. I mean, when the states start hurting in their pocket, I think that's a good thing. And give us a call. Keep close to OneAmerica, IAMS, as it relates to this unfolding story, if you will, right, Brent? I mean, essentially,
that is correct.
Change. Yeah. Ever since I hate to use the 2020 word, but at the end of the day, I should have known better. Change is going to happen, and it's going to be out there in front of us. Also, for those, keep an eye on those of you that are fiduciaries in the audience that may be a 65 registered rep. This is a topic that's starting to come up more and more on my article searches, if you will, and research, as a fiduciary, taking a look at the impact of long-term care, which we know we do, but that is starting to come up as an issue, potentially a line item in the future to be mentioned on regulation. But at the end of the day, we're all fiduciaries for our clients. You can't help them or their families if the assets are all gone, and we all know that human capital does expire. Our bodies don't live as long as our minds. So thanks again. Appreciate it. Look forward to reaching out to each one of you. And Brent, have a great day. Take care.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.